Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the creative process and a discussion on Black love with myself, Blake Washington, and here she go, Usha, the love of my life on stage. Yes. Welcome to everyone. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Usha.
Hello, Malik.
I had to do a costume change because you were giving me life.
I I am living for this. What are we wearing today?
I got this hat in Bali, at like December, I think.
I
Yeah.
remember when you went to Bali.
So I got this little hat, but this is a shirt. I think this from Urban Outfitters.
Oh, okay. I thought you were wearing a kufi, but get it, Urban.
Come on, I was looking for the kufi, but I had multiple, so I didn't know which one I wanted to pick.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm. We're gonna
yeah.
have to set this up and do more of like a cross-color connection to speak
All
to
these things.
our
Hello.
balance.
Just wanted to say hello to everyone. I see so many people coming through, people that we know through dance, through the community of Camille Brown and dancers. We're always grateful to have these conversations of the creative process and also the opportunity to still be connected while social distancing. And this conversation is open. You can have questions for us. There's a question tag on the bottom. If you want to ask us questions about how the process was creating balance with Camille Brown. And if you had a chance to watch the Facebook link yesterday, uh, thankfully with NYU Abu Dhabi, to have questions about what you saw yesterday as well, that can also continue here. And I will let Usha also introduce herself while we are sitting here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Usha Marie Sorzano, and I am a proud member of Camille Brown and Dancers and a very happy partner to Malik for balance, which is what we're here to talk to you about today. I watched. I actually watched all of Ink again about 3 times yesterday. I might have been doing the most.
Really? Three
I did
times?
it. I did it. I did it. I did
You
it. I
did
made my
it.
husband watch it with me too. I saw so many things that you miss so much when you're on stage.
Right.
And I think someone in the company, when we were talking about it separate of, social media, said it's just so different to watch it from the audience's perspective.
Hmm.
Um, and I just felt so lucky to go back in, um, and to look at how Camille structured balance and how it was built. And there are so many subtle comments, like commentary on the relationships of Black men and women, and not just
Hmm.
Black men and women, but men and women. And so in a time when we are hopefully redrawing and, restructuring lines, um, based on our needs, it really is poignant for me at this point of my life.
It's absolutely poignant, and I hear exactly what you're saying. When I was watching it, I was just like, "Oh my God! Oh, that's the first time he felt love." And she's so great also with the uh the little subtleties of the music as well. I remember
Mm-hmm.
when she was changing those, and I was like, "Why is she changing it?" I was like, "It's so good," and we were trying to find it. It took us like a whole.
I wouldn't even say it wasn't a day. Don't even try to make it seem like we were that quick. We weren't that quick.
It was like a week.
It took us a second. I mean, we came together really quickly. We've never met before.
That is also another thing that most people probably don't know. So, if you did see the Facebook link, me and Usha, when we learned this whole duet, Camille had to restructure it in almost 3 or 4 days. Like, seriously. And was that when PBS came as well to
Yeah,
watch
like
us
soon
rehearse?
after. It was in that process. It was like in a 2 or 3 week process.
Yeah. And in that 2 week process, we restructured a duet that I had already learned with two other people, Chloe and V Boeem. So it was like very interesting. I was getting my third partner, and
Hmm.
I felt like I had a third girlfriend in a way, like a third lover, because I was learning how to love each woman differently. and this idea of communication started to come in, of how I communicate with Chloe, and then how I communicated with V, and then how I communicated with you. And when we got,
Yeah.
by the time I got to you, it was kind of already easy. Me and you were already in the same headspace, so it just kind of like clicked. And we never met each other, but we knew so many of the same people.
Yep.
It was just
I
really
mean, I think like that is the gift, one of the many gifts of Camille, right?
true.
Is that she knows how to put people together, and even though there's always still a risk in that, she's always going to uh, take that risk.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I didn't even remember, coming out of Black Girl Linguistic Play, and we started the process of ink pretty soon after that. I remember we were at FSU, and again, I had a different partner. At one point it was Jewel,
Hmm.
and then it was Shamar Watts, and
Right.
so when I finally came back to it, it was you, and because we didn't know each other, we now are gifted the realities of dating, of what it really is like, right? Because that's how the duet starts, as we move along next to each other. What Camille would always say to us, it's like you're on two different paths, but you're moving down, you're going in the same direction. And
Right.
as the duet evolves, we find ourselves slowly doing, the flirtation, the back and forth. And one of my favorite parts in the duet is when we separate from the line for the first time, and we get each other's phone numbers. And that's the part that sticks with me always. That Camille's always like, that first time that someone calls you and you stay on the phone with them for 3 hours, and it becomes a part of your day, and there's that giddiness and that the butterflies. And I just, it's, I, we don't see that. I didn't see that reflected in a lot of things as a Black woman growing up. I didn't see Black love. I saw Love Jones. And
Right.
it's so powerful that we can do that. We have the opportunity to do that. And it shouldn't be an opportunity. It should be like, yeah.
Given. It should be a given that it's always seen. And it was it was very interesting because even for in my career and definitely for yours as well, most of the time I've always been the the black side of the relationship in the
Mm-hmm.
dance. Like it's usually like I have a white counterpart and then I'm the lover or love interest, but it can always be misconstrued, and it was always hard for me to kind of like really tap in. But once we started playing in these formats of black love, I could think about my mother, my aunts, my the women that used to watch me cross the street as a kid. I had all these little things that I could place or find in each of these
Mm-hmm.
partners that I had. And it was so revealing to me that without that black love and that black nurturing of a woman, I wouldn't even be the man that I am today. So it's so eye-opening to watch yourself be on stage, but playing a different character, not playing yourself, but then still feeling all these feelings.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question for you that triggered something for me. Balance is supposed to be about a couple, but you said something yesterday being raised in the live chat that you and Tim did, right?
Hmm.
About being raised by women, and then you just articulated it again, like you're looking at the woman across the street who was a part of raising you, you're looking at the women in your life who are a part of raising you. So for you, is balance not just about that intimate, relationship that you have with a partner, but also just
Right.
about demonstrating love in general?
It's love in general. Balance, it's in the title of that section. To find love, there has to be some sort of balance between two people. Like, I can be honest with you, when I was growing up, I liked my mother, but I didn't know if she, or I mean, I loved my mother, but I didn't know if she liked me.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it took me years to realize that all these things that I had in my head of was I doing this right, was I doing this right, were uh, my own restrictions of what I thought was the proper thing to do or the thing that she would want me to do. Um, so expectations. And I had to relieve those expectations. And once I started to relieve those, it let some weight off of my shoulders. And then more relieving of those things as well. But I get
You're back. I see you. I hear you.
Yeah, people be trying to call and stuff. Don't call me. Leave me alone. I'm in an interview. But we did get a question. What do you draw from in your own love stories to past or present to help fuel the power and balance? Thank you, Timothy Edwards.
I like that, Timothy Edwards. Thank you very much. It's funny because I'm looking at my husband right now, and one of my favorite things about him and why I think it works for us is that he's never asked me to dampen any part of myself. When we met, I said, "Look, I'm an artist and I'm going to be on the road and I'm going to do this," and he was like, "Cool." And he's a journalist, so right now he has more work than ever.
Right.
But we do this next to each other. It's a consistent, like I'm teaching Zoom classes, he's covering the news. It's like, okay, what do you need today? What can I give to you? Who's going to cover lunch? And I I can say I've fallen. I remember the first time I fell in love. I remember the first time my heart was broken. We all
Mm,
experience love. You don't have to be in a relationship right now or consistently to understand what it is like. But I can say with my husband, who respects my own journey, and allows me to continue on my own path, going in the same direction with him. There's just so much respect, and it's not about one being. It's not hierarchy. It's not one more than the other. And Camille said that a lot. She was like,
a lot.
she said that so much, and so I think for myself it was kind of easy because I was living it already.
That's
I feel very blessed to be living it.
right. Right. That's so. There are things in there that triggered that I jumped out to me to answer Tim's question as well, and it's I'm not good at expressing my emotions through words. Like I can do it, but I'm such a physical person when it comes to emotions. That was the one way that I knew how to get them out. So to really speak on a notion of black love, I had to dig so deep, and it was nice to kind of resurface all these things that I knew already in my DNA, even like my grandmother. So uh, these notions of going back and kind of rerouting those places that you might have not lost. It's just that they weren't as fresh as they were before. So to embody and find those embodiments um, in other beautiful black women, the choreographer who's a beautiful black woman, my partner who's a beautiful black woman, the people that are giving us feedback in the room are beautiful black people. So it kind of just all encompassed. I was just like, wow, black love. I know I felt it when I was a kid, but now feeling it as an adult feels more impactful because you're grown, so all these people are pushing you forward.
Yeah. Um, I wonder. So, what was it like, Malik? Um, I think that you and I both can. We both know that we can, as most professional dancers know, we can figure it out. You always figure out what it's like to work with a partner. But what did it feel like to bring balance so quickly to the stage with me?
Man, if I tell you, or so everyone, if you understand what Usha was saying earlier. So Usha was like the originator of the duet with Shamar Watts, who's an amazing friend that I also know from FSU. Um, and I learned from watching you. So I felt in my head, I was like, yo, you got to come in and be so prepared. You got to really know everything. And then, as you know, Camille, how she was like, oh no, we're not doing the same thing. We're going to make something new.
Yep,
And so
get
it,
you.
but in a way, it was so great because, again, I had all these expectations of how I wanted to prove myself to you,
Mm-hmm.
and which I usually probably do in relationships as well. I want to prove that I'm supportive, that I show love, that I can secure you, all these safety, all these things. But it was nice to just, as the company usually does, to joke around. And that was kind of like the first thing that I found out about you. Like I loved your smile and your wittiness of just having an open communication while we went through things. And I found something in you that I found in Tim as well. This idea of like, yeah, okay, yeah, no talking whatsoever. It was more like it was so quick that we could just figure it out together. And it was just like, wow, oh yeah, even if she gave us like 20 minutes to ourselves, it was so in tune.
It's fun. It's I love to hear you say that, and you triggered something, because I think that that's how I approach love most of my life. Like,
Hmm.
my mother said to me, and you said it earlier, my mother used to say to me around, like, like when you become that like terrible teenager, she was like, I love you, but I don't like you right now.
Right.
And that made me think about all of the expectations that we have of ourselves when we go into relationships. We're lucky when we find that unconditional love that you feel from a mother or from a guardian. Um, and but in most other relationships, there's a risk. There's a risk that the person may not show up. There's a risk that they may not understand you, that they may not feel you, that they may not identify with you. And that happens in all things in life, right? It's that balance you keep talking about. It's a universal feeling, but that is how I felt when I came into the duet too. I actually wasn't thinking about what I had done with Shamar. I was
Right.
more scared of what had been done since I was gone. And I was gone because I got injured, right? So
Right.
there's the fear of coming to something that has evolved since you've left. There's the fear of not being physically able to do what
Mm.
you to be able to do. And then but you still want that love. You still want that feeling that's why we chose dance, right?
Right.
But my micro fears are a macro response to love and to the
Right.
world, and to that 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 fear that we all feel when we go into something that could disappoint us, you know? But the beauty of the duet is that at the end of it, even in conversation, and there are moments when, where she picks at him and fixes him, and where he picks at her and fixes her, and it's not always happy, but the process is beautiful and happy, and we walk away from each other with a sense of confidence. We didn't know what we were going to do. We didn't know what was going to come out of it, but we created that energy of love and appreciation for each other, and we hope that the audience sees it. I sometimes wonder about those people that are not Black, what
Right.
they see, you
What they
know?
see. But I think inside of that, because even if I wasn't black, I would see love. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I can't speak to that because I am black and I'm so proud to be black, especially in these times right now. Like, I'm just seeing so much, activation. But also, being that yesterday was, and the past few days have been so impactful with protests that I think how we activate on stage, we've been doing the work kind of already to kind of educate before we got here. And not saying that we're not going to stop educating, and not that we won't activate, but it was great to already have a conversation going. So by the time that this came forth, I already had information that I could speak on, and not that I had to go back and uh, reroute myself again.
Hmm. That's the
Yeah.
power, I think, of working with CABD, is
Hmm.
that the we're already having these conversations. We're having these conversations in the room, with the artists that are there, with Camille, and then because of it, we start to have the conversations every day in life.
Yeah.
You just can't get away from it.
You can't. And that's the very big truth. Okay. Oh, we got questions. Okay, come on,
Let's go.
questions. Young Malik, here we go. Were there any personal dialogues you had to confront within yourself during the rehearsal process of Ink?
Mm.
I'll I'll probably say let go of your ego. Because my first partner was Chloe. If you know Chloe, Chloe is this is it. This is what we're gonna do. And it was not as if I haven't had that energy before. I didn't know her. So it was really relinquishing the idea that this person can take the lead even though I don't know them. Because they're in the room, they're trusted to also help you in a community setting, instead so that you can prevail as well together. And that was something different because uh, that was my first time being with Camille Brown and dancers. That was my first week, and we were at Jacob's Pillow, and so I never really had that energy of being in an all black dance company. And I'll be honest, like I was always the token. So to go into a room where other people are just as competent as you, and they work 10 times hard just like you, all these things that you kind of know as a checklist for a black artist, you kind of get to step back and be like, okay, well then, we are all in communication here. Let's go.
That's beautiful. I mean, yeah, I guess I felt the same. I mean, I have been in, I guess what you call a black company. You know, being in the Ailey company, I feel like it's about telling that reflecting the black narrative, the blood memories. But Camille
Mm,
is different. Camille is in the room with you. She's having uncomfortable questions about things that are happening now, about things that are about to happen.
right.
Um, and so going to speaking on what you said, like when I have been in other companies where I have been the token, I've gotten really good at not asking for what I need, right?
Mm,
Because I'm consistently ready to prove to you that I am enough. So I'm never going to tell you what I need. And I think that, and it's funny, what I'm saying is a very true and deep and intense trauma that I still have to unpack. But
yeah.
it, but I came to it through balance, through comedy, because Malik and I are consistently like, before we go out on stage, I'm like, so what you do, a 60%, right? You do a 60, right?
Nope.
Well, even in rehearsal. And it's hard because this is where we still haven't figured each other out. Because he'll say
No.
60, I don't know his 60, and then my 60 turns into now 75 because his 60 is 75. And by the end of the duet, everyone in the company's like, why did you guys just do that full out?
And we weren't trying. I was like, yeah, I was trying to mark. But if you see Usha dance, even when she's at 40, it looks like someone else is 150. That's how talented she is. And that is the purpose of balance. Because if this person is only thinking they're doing 40, and you feel like, yo, that's 60, you bump up to what you think is 60, and then you keep going like this. But that's the climb. That's the idea of the ladder. And that's the idea of the black love. Like, yo, we're not trying to top each other, but I'm just trying to show you, like, yo, we can go here. And then the other person's, oh, well, if you're doing that, then let's go here.
I never
Another,
thought about it that way. I love that, Malik. I mean, I guess that's the beauty of unpacking it and talking about it in ways
mm-hmm,
like this when you're away from the work, right? Um, I think that people who aren't artists don't necessarily recognize that we're always in the process. You know, like even the dancing, the process doesn't just occur in the rehearsal space. It doesn't just occur on the stage. It occurs in conversation. And that's what, if you are ever in the room with Camille, and she's so amazing at letting everyone into the room, she wants to hear people's thoughts, and it
yeah,
doesn't necessarily change the work, but it gives her another perspective to consider. And you know, that the feeling that even though you and I are keying on the side of the stage about
mm-hmm,
what's your 60, what's your 70, okay, we're going 42, but it's true. It's like that is balance. And in any relationship, it shouldn't be seen as a threat, right? That this person is trying to go more, you know, we should all be raising our bar. And I was
right,
talking to my husband about this just yesterday, because as I said, he's a journalist, so he's covering the news in a crazy time.
mm-hmm,
Um, and he was saying, he said, you know, we as journalists have to say what's happening in the world and not just cover the negative and the positive and just say, here, now you make a choice. It's like some things are just wrong, right? Some things are just wrong.
absolutely.
And it happens in a relationship too. Like sometimes you say it's status quo and like you can't stay there. You gotta move up. You gotta change the game. You gotta redefine. And every human being should be trying to do that every day.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone should. Like if you are alive, you have agency. Use it.
That's exactly what it is. You have agency. Use it. Oh, that's great, Usha. Another question. Here we go. Is the Camille A. Brown Dance Company having auditions? If so, when? Actually, no. Camille just had auditions, and usually she doesn't. And it took us almost like 2, 3 years to get her to have one. Um, I was lucky enough that I didn't audition. I knew Camille since I was 17. Usha, I don't think you auditioned either, did you?
No, I've known Camille since I was probably like 20.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of us in the company have known her over a decade, actually. And I think,
I mean, I guess we
like,
should probably tell people like how old we are now so they
nah,
understand.
mm-mm,
Okay, cool.
Antoinette.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like Camille picks dancers that are usually in their late 20s into their 30s because she feels that they have more life experience. And I told her this before. I was like, thank you for saying that and thank you for doing that. Because if you would have grabbed me at 22 to like 25, I probably wouldn't have lasted at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, I wasn't even prepared then. I mean, I could have done the steps, but I couldn't
Yeah.
process it. I mean, even I know we're talking about balance, but you know, when you talk about ink, when you talk about balance, you have to speak to the trilogy, right? And so I go back to I wasn't prepared to do balance until I did Black Girl. Like
Right.
Black Girl was an experience of its own in terms of the fact that I had to acknowledge that um, that my Black young female experience wasn't necessarily um, desired. It wasn't the story that people usually tell.
Hmm.
And through recognizing my identity in the work and my value, it empowered me. So then when I come to balance and we're talking about those things, it's like,
Right.
oh yeah, now I know why I should be saying something. Like, you know, me playing with sidewalk chalk and trying to ice skate with roller skates in Miami on the sidewalk. That was me being Usha. So it's like
Right.
it's all of it. It's the whole process in it, and it makes sense why the works are created the way they are because she's also on a process.
Hmm. And it's also what she tells us all the time. Like, the person that I was yesterday is not the person that I am today. So I have to move this person forward also with the work. And you're seeing that with these. If you don't know Camille's work of the trilogies, we're talking about Mr. Tolly Rants, we're talking about Black Girl Linguistic Play, and then Ink. Those are the three pieces that talk about Black identity. And Mr. Tolly Rants, it is talking about the stereotypes that were in the media, past and present. And then in Black Girl Linguistic Play, it's the maturation of girlhood to womanhood. And seeing Usha do that, I saw you perform that as the Joyce.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? And that's crazy. Like, that's why I was like, I had these expectations of what I wanted to bring because I saw you as an artist beforehand, before being your partner. Um, but yeah, all these things are given to us because of the opportunity that Camille gives us for then and still now. Like, even having these conversations is something really miraculous. I want to do one more
Yeah.
question before, not a question, but someone was just saying, loving this conversation. Thank you for sharing. Okay, that's everything.
Thank you. I will say something to that person who said, does Camille have auditions?
Hmm.
The really cool thing about Camille, and I said it earlier, is that all you really need do is reach out. And she's an honest person. So if it's not gonna work, she's gonna tell you, and she's gonna tell you with respect and compassion and like
Yep.
and all of that. But if I would say this to any young artist, like if the work inspires you, if it's something you are interested in, just ask to be in the room. And because you've no idea in what way you can impact the room and when and where things will come back together. Like Malik said, he met Camille when he was a young boy. My first day of work in the Ailey Company was Camille's first time setting a piece on the Ailey Company, and she casted me. And that I say that to her, and that changed the trajectory of my journey at that point. And to come back to her own company and to perform in Black Girl Linguistic Play and to perform in Ink and other works, it's just you just never know. You have to be up for the ride, and you have to be open to taking risks. Again, speaking to relationships and back to balance. That's where and Malik,
Tied in.
I want to say like there is something in that person talking about, and you saying that Camille usually likes to work with artists that are older. When you are older, also you have to make peace with the fact that your body will not do what it did when you were 20.
Ding, 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 ding.
So that was one of my fears, I think, as well. Not just coming back from injury, but coming back and knowing that I was going to be dancing with someone that's so much younger than me. Not that much, but enough to make me scared of what that looked like and what it meant. And I really love the fact that we're able to be honest with each other and call each other out and
Right.
say, I'm so mad at you for dancing so good. I'm
Like
gonna try to do
full,
better.
full
And
out.
I felt that about you so many times. And also to watch you like not only do the duet with me where it burns. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful burn, but it burns. And then you go right back out on stage
Right
with
after.
Tim. I never asked you this. Do you do the same, is it the same man that dances the duet in Balance?
That
And then,
dances.
that then dances with Tim?
You know what's funny to me? I think you meet him at his oldest point. I think
Yes,
it's in
that's how I feel.
reverse in my storytelling, because when I go back out, I don't feel like I'm that kid anymore. I feel like I'm the little boy of him. And then you
Mm-hmm.
see him kind of go like this. And then when we get to that point, it's like a mix of the table and you see him come back out again. Because he also has like a different outfit and everything, his hat's back on.
Yeah.
So that's what it's like for me. No phone,
But that
okay.
speaks to the superheroes. Like
Yes.
that shows us, like, for me that means that like your superhero power, which Camille always talks about, is like you could time travel. That's cute.
Right. It's flight. You fly. You could fly so fast that you can go back in time. It's all these things. But yeah, it's so amazing to just like think of all those things and all those opportunities that we've had and all these life-changing moments that we've got through this process. Um, so I'm very fortunate that I was able to do that with you and that we still get to do it and still
Yeah.
get to watch it, because I think that you're an amazing artist, an
I think
amazing
you're an
woman,
amazing artist.
amazing woman. Me and Usha sat down. Where was that? What city was that? Houston. Was that Houston?
Yeah,
Nashville.
when we went to a restaurant. Are you talking about a restaurant? We went down, we sat down and
Nashville.
talked. Yeah.
Nashville. And we felt it. We were like, we're like the only black people in here, ain't we? That's fine. Let's eat.
Yeah.
And it
What
was
you
like
get
the
me?
right. It was like one of the most amazing things because some other times I always feel like I have to go like this. And with Usha, because she's been my partner for so long, I was actually able to go like this and like sit up so proud to the point where people were coming to us and interacting
Yeah.
with us because we had a different light and glow about us. And that is the power that I saw on stage, off stage. Like it was crazy. So I'm always appreciative of you. I'm appreciative of Camille. I'm appreciative of the whole company. But thank you so much for
I felt all of the thank you. I think everybody did too.
your
Somebody did.
light with me.
Yeah.
They
And
did.
ditto.
I'm sorry.
I can't thank you enough. Like there are no words. And yeah, I don't really know. You when you have the the privilege of dancing alongside people that understand you, when you have the privilege of dancing alongside people that want to go further, um, when you have a partner like you that, like, before we go on stage, every time we hug each other.
Yeah, I think that's
It's
so
like
important.
I don't think, and it's like what you said. It's like we never talked about it, and I can't say I've done that with every partner I've ever had, but with you, there's that ritual, and it's like even if I didn't see you for the
The
3 hours before the
yeah.
performance, like I always make sure I'm at the side of the stage so I can hug you, so that you can feel what I think everybody in the company gives to each other. It's like it's love, and that's it's beautiful. It's the complexities of being a human being, but more specifically to this conversation, it's the complexities of being in a Black body
Yeah,
and
man.
and sharing your truth, because we are no different than anyone else, and that's the beauty of Camille's work, is that the universality of the work is just undeniable, period.
I wish people could see that hug beforehand.
It'd be kind
It's
of cute.
like,
Who's going to do a documentary? PBS, where
right?
you at?
To be like, to see that moment, because that is definitely what ties it in. I feel like I don't get to hug you after, so I definitely hug you before. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like, and I still hug you once I'm done and I come back around, I give you another hug because we got through it. And
because we
some
made it.
days we were like, oh my God, you good? You good? Yeah. But thank you so much, Usha. I love you. And this
Love
was
you
an
too.
amazing conversation. Thank you all for watching. And if you have a chance, again, please watch the link of Inc. on NYU Abu Dhabi, and it's actually being channeled through a whole bunch of other organizations like ASU Gammons, also Jacob's Pillow, and so many other people. But you can check all this information out on CamilleBrown.com, yes, and also the Instagram. Thank you so much. Love you, Oosh.
Bye, guys. Love you, Malik. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.